Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 21 of What If Naruto Had the Rarest Bloodline. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto was personally trained by Kurama after leaving the village. And over at Anime King 3, I posted a brand new episode of What If Naruto Had the Ultimate Nature Bloodline. So go ahead and check out that and enjoy guys. And remember, if you're new, to go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Start the intro. So the last time we left off, Naruto was panicking as he arrived towards the hospital. Dr. Yuma calmed Naruto down and told him the problem that was going on with Kushina, chakra coils, the reason for her current reaction, as she was gonna have to have the baby now even though it was 3 months early. As Yuma had to calm Naruto as Kushina told him that everything would go fine, she told him over and over again as he was quite on edge. Sawaki stayed in there as Naruto waited outside as he panned around for a long while. Until Yuma came out. The man told him that he had a son, as Naruto hugged the man and rushed inside as he met his boy. As Kushina was exhausted, as Sawaki as well. The both of them had not gotten any proper sleep, and through the entire event the both of them were worrying, especially Sawaki, and Kushina was going through childbirth. As Naruto stayed in there as he saw his new child. His child name was Benimaru, named after his father. As Naruto smiled as he met his son, it was the most happiest feeling as he felt everything wash over him there at once. As the time passed, as Yagura had made his way, he never meant to interrupt, but Naruto told him was fine. As the child's eyes were slitted, as it was because of the fluctuation of the Kyuubi's chakra that rushed into Kushina's system. As Naruto left back a clone behind as Benimaru was still currently in incubator. As Yagura told Naruto what is going on recently, he's been having thoughts of killing the entire bloodline population in Kiri. As Naruto was a bit surprised by that, but at the same moment not. As they came to the conclusion as Naruto spoke to him, it was a genjutsu by Uchiha, as it was the same thing that happened to one of his members. It was the reason why Naruto sent out BLAK members to check on ninjas and civilians out of the village, and stay there with them for a time to see if everything was fine, as he performed a procedure on Yagura, as he ended up breaking the man from the genjutsu. But he was no certain that it was the Uchiha, as he sent the message back towards Kisame. Konan wanted, well, she didn't know what to do, as Kisame told her she could be her own person. The girl was having conflicting thoughts when it comes towards Nagato, who was changing the Akatsuki and doing so much. Kisame got the message, but as long as he's been here, he hasn't seen the masked man. The masked man wasn't even the one that came to recruit him, as he would have to find him though and shred him to pieces when he did. As Naruto had relayed the message to him, Fukaku was not having such a good time, as Mikoto reminded him she had her eternal monkey to Sharingan, as her eyes were from her father's. She reminded him once again that he's just a figurehead and he's not the clan head. After all, the only reason why he's having this position right now is because her father didn't want a woman to lead the clan. But despite that, she had more respect from the people than him. Far more respect. As Fukaku was quickly shut up by that. The man did not like you one bit. We had a small time skip as Naruto woke up in the bed with Kushina and Sawaki. Benimaru was at the hospital in the ward, as Naruto couldn't wait for his son to come home, for him to spend more time with his son and just look at him. The feeling that he got from just looking at his son was just wonderful. So yeah guys, that was basically as we left off. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself. So what do you say begin this new episode? At the moment, Naruto was currently at his counter with a cup of ramen in hand, as he was told by the Sand and Dark Force that a group of Uchihas had been seen leading away from Konoha, and the group was being led by Fukaku, the supposed leader of the Uchiha clan. Out of curiosity, Naruto had told his ninjas to watch to see where the Uchiha was gonna go. The dark ninjas followed them out of Fire Country as they kept their distance. They tried to pass through one of the borders at the sand, but their papers weren't properly updated. No matter how much Fukaku roared that he was the clan head of the Uchiha clan, they barred them from entry over the border unless they gained new passport or the ancient fee to sort out the problem. Just passing through was not a good enough reason that was going to cut it, Konoha being their ally or not. Needless to say, the Sand relationship with Konoha has become more stricter, more formal since the million in Dark Ryu loan that the Leaf had taken from the Sand. The contract was written out to the finest detail. In detail, so if the Leaf was to dissolve before the money was paid back, there was a consequence there. There will be a 5% interest and it will be passed on to the Fire Daimyo, Lady Wakano. 4 days of talking and arguing did not faze the Sand and Dark Ninjas that were stationed there until Fukaku and his clan mates register. There was 20 Uchihas with him, plus him making it 21. They only had enough money for them to stay in the Sand for a measly 1 month. They made their way through the Sand as they made their way towards the eastern hidden mountain. Curiosity struck Naruto once again and he sent a few more ninjas to go visit Konoha to see the reason why the Uchiha left. Some hours later, they communicate to him that those Uchiha had defected, branded as missing ninjas. They had their Uchiha names and their entitlement stripped by Mikoto Uchiha, the clan head. The reason for this all was Fukaku had informed Mikoto that he got a lead on Minato and he wanted to track him down. Really shaky lead, but a lead nonetheless. Mikoto wasn't brave enough to face Minato, and she didn't stop those Uchiha men and women that Fukaku had convinced to hunt him down. A matter of fact, she told him if they go with Fukaku, they will be tossed out of the clan. Their priorities, their wealth, will be seized by the clan and their Uchiha names will be worthless in the outside world. That was the reason why the Sand and Dark Ninjas weren't really concerned when Fukaku tried to use his Uchiha name to get into the Sand. And another reason why they weren't afraid, because if they were attacked, that means they had reason to retaliate, and they knew that their leader, Naruto and Rasa, would rain fire and brimstone on the Hidden Leaf. Naruto didn't really care if a few Uchiha was stripped of their name. After all, that didn't concern him. Tsunade stamped them as defectors, and Mikoto seized their properties, that mean their money, their clothing, their houses, their titles, their land, everything. They wanted to go to their death by Minato's hands. Their things will be used to revitalize the village. Fukaku and his people were going to reach Clover Mountain where Minato and Tasume had built their home upon in approximately 10 hours, seeing that they had to take their time and conserve their energy, and they had to cross so many mountain range to get where Minato was. Ever since he got that mysterious letter about Minato's location, Fukaku had been obsessed, as he wasn't going to let this go. He was going to find Minato. Yes, he had made a promise. To himself, mostly. But Naruto did have a hand in something though. Right about sunset yesterday, after the back-to-back council meetings, Naruto had phoned the ringmaster of the traveling circus from River Country that was close to Clover Mountain that Fukaku was coming towards location, and he must warn Minato. Hopefully, the message got to Minato before Fukaku came in as a surprise. As Naruto tossed the ramen cup and the chopsticks in the bin, he had a dream that made him rather uneasy, and yet he couldn't remember the dream. But he couldn't sleep anymore as he looked towards the clock. 4:51 AM. I need some fresh air. As he got a note and a pen as he wrote that he would be back soon, as he placed on the fridge so they could see. As he picked up his hoodie and threw it on, as he slipped on his black sneakers, as he confirmed that he had everything with him. He flicked up his hoodie and opened the door. As he made his way, closed the door behind him. The wind howled as the coldness hit him. As he made his way, no snow yet, but the cold was incredible. Appreciated the distraction, but he didn't know why his unknown dream was affecting him so much. He wondered if he had died in a dream. He shook his head. He wasn't afraid of death, because the total number of times that he came close to death and overcome it, it had desensitized him from death. So that panic that you usually get when you're close to death, he doesn't feel it anymore. He's been through a lot and done a lot. After all, his very first kill was when he was 7. A raggedy old man had snuck into their hiding spot and kidnapped Nagato. And back then, Nagato was still in his catatonic state. Yaiko, Kona, and Sawaki, they were also unresponsive, unable to come to terms with the death of their parents and how their life had fallen apart. Naruto was forced himself not to focus and experience death because he has to look over his friends. As he had chased after the man, he hadn't eaten in 4 days. He could remember how much his stomach gnawed at itself. Every small amount of food that he found from the Kumo or the stone camp. If he was caught and released after some harsh beating, he would give it to his friends. He would leave nothing for himself. As the man was also starving as well, he probably wanted to sell Nagato as a slave, or probably sell his organs to people in the front line. Many things wanted back then, or the man probably wanted to eat Nagato. After all, back then, war and hunger brought out the desperation in humanity. Anything to survive, regret was for later. The hungry man was weighed down by Nagato's weight. The man finally collapsed down as Naruto saw the man lift up Nagato's shirt. As he was about to tear into Nagato's stomach, Naruto rushed forward and bashed his head in with a rock. He didn't stop until the man's head was nothing but smashed goo. The things Naruto did to protect them, the world of pain, of torture that he had to endure, he couldn't take it back and he would not take it back. They were his friends. They were all he had. Sawaki pulled her for depression, using her teacher, him, as her anchor. That was the only reason why she did not kill herself. Yaiko and Konan followed after, and Nagato was the last thing of self-preservation. In the Sanin scheme, Akatsuki was formed and the rest was history. So death could not be the reason why he was fearing that dream or something. As Naruto had renounced himself to be ready for anything. He loved the life that he lived, but to protect the people that he cared about, he would gladly give that life up. As Naruto made his way, he just kept on walking, greeting people that passed him. As he arrived towards a shop, as he bought 10 sticks of dango. As the country was waking up, officers could be seen jogging around, people on their morning run. It was Naruto's day off at work. His 2 office assistants could handle the paperwork, as they could call him if they had any urgent matters. And the chunin that distribute the mission request on the ground was already ready. Everything was set, so it was his day off. As Naruto stood there on the roof, he heard Ginny, Ginny, Ginny. As someone was calling, a group of them, 2 boys and 1 girl. We should tell Sensei. As Naruto jumped down. What's the problem? He said. He realized how sketchy it must look as he was wearing his hood and they could barely see his face, so he flicked off the hood. As he eye-smiled towards them, they all froze and looked up. No, it couldn't be. No, of course not. He has better things to do than talking to them. The girl, still a bit weary, looked at him. We were looking for a dog. Ginny. We were walking him, but Kato, as she snapped towards the boy with a glare. The boy looked away and whistled. As Naruto chuckled, he thought it would be a good idea to let him off his leash. Ginny spotted a cat and... Ah, I understand, said Naruto. Is this the place you lost him? He said. The other boy, the one that wanted to call their Jonin Sensei, bobbed his head. Yes, sir. As Naruto looked at the boy. You're from the Panther clan, right? The yellow-eyed boy seemed surprised by the guess. I am, he said. Why don't you use your nose? The wind has blown away Ginny's scent. I can't. As Naruto looked towards the other boy, Susume Biki, he said. As the boy backed away a bit. Your glasses and your buzzing. He then looked towards the girl. I know your uncle, Komodo. You're creeping us out, sir. Komodo. Dragon niece stuttered out as she took a step back. Who are you? Naruto's smile brightened as he looked back down, ignoring her question. Let's look for a dog, he said. As he pointed. Prince, he said. The boy from the Wasp clan looked towards the ground. He's right. Since your dog was chasing a cat, I doubt that he's running in a straight direction. Jennings nodded that logic as the gears in her head turned. And since it's a cat that Jenny was chasing, the cat probably ran up somewhere high to get away from the dog. As Naruto looked towards the Wasp boy, your eyes can see the footprints clearer. You could use them. The boy looked down as he followed the tracks. As they moved off and came to an alleyway. He might have heard you, said Naruto, but all he cares about is getting that cat. As they saw the dog barking. Thank you, mister, the girl said the bow. Hey, are you a ninja or something? The Panther boy asked. As the Wasp boy went and grabbed the dog, or something. Tell your teacher I said hi. Just as Naruto said that, as he made his way off, the 3 students' Jenkins dropped down from atop of a building. As he was the brother of Yuma and Yumi. Where's Jin? He said. As the little girl showed him the puppy that wiggled in her grasp. Well done. Time to give Madam Kuka the dog and head back to the tower for another mission. Meanwhile, as Naruto squatted, as he glanced towards a street lamp. Shibier, he said, as the girl showed herself. I see you finally made it into BLAK, he said. She flipped off the street lamp and she landed perfectly as she smiled to her ex-girlfriend, husband. Congratulations, he said, as he patted her shoulder. As he started to walk as she joined him. What team are you on? BLAK Team 91, sir. As she tapped her hands together. My squad leader is a hard-ass though. Nothing you can't get through, Shibier. Naruto familiarly ruffled her dark locks as the woman laughed. pushing his hand away, as Naruto gave her another smile. 7 years of trying finally paid off. I'm proud of you, kid, he said. I'm just stubborn, she said, as she took off the mask on top of her head at his beckoning and handed it to him. I chose the mask, she said. I'm kind of surprised no one picked Red Panda yet. As Naruto looked at the Red Panda BLAK member mask, as he gave her back and she took it. Wear it with pride, kid. Yes, I will, she said, as Naruto was glad that him marrying Kushina didn't put a dent in him and Shimura friendship. She was a really nice girl and Naruto had watched her grow up. Since she got in her tuning vest, she has been training long and hard to become a BLAK operative. Every time she applied, she would be sent back with demands after to develop her skills. BLAK was the elite shinobis of the countries. They had a high standard to set. It was when she mastered her Fuinjutsu skills and her hand-to-hand combat. It was then that the Captain Octopus gave her the green light to start her extensive training in the Night Forest. Captain Squid says he's going hard on me because I'm close to you, sir. Is that so, said Naruto? He said that since I'm in a closer position to you, I'm in a better position to protect you, Nana, and Lady Sue, when the time comes. Did you tell them that we can take care of ourselves? I tell them that. The whole reason I wanted to join BLAK was so I can protect you guys. Look at you, being all serious, said Naruto as he ruffled her hair, as she shoved him away a bit. I'm not always serious, she said, she followed in step with him, as they were going to the northern region. I'm seeing someone. Oh really? Said Naruto. Yeah, she said, scratching the back of her head, nervous. I met her at a mixer last month. She writes children's story, and she wants to open a publishing company in the country. Naruto waggled his eyebrow at her. Any plans to get married, kids? She released a sigh, as that was music in Naruto's ear. I'm just saying, you're at that age now. Don't even start, I get enough of that already for my mother, she said. I'm joking, Shibuya. Loosen up. You're only 22. You still got a lot of life ahead of you. Don't forget to have fun. I won't, sir, she said. I want to go and see someone. The place I'm going isn't far away from here. On that hill over there. It was a bit distance away from the clan compound. You want me to accompany you? She asked. Well, unless you have somewhere you have to go, he said. No, I'm off duty for now. Well, till the blizzard anyway. She sealed away her mask. As they made their way up the hill, on top of the hill was a familiar face. Suki, hey. Naruto waved. The Krama woman snapped her head around, almost toppling over her painting. She placed her palette on the ground that she was using, with the different colors inside. She pulled off her apron and rushed, as she leaped towards Naruto in a hug. She grinned, hey, 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 as Naruto chuckled and patted her back. What are you up to? She grabbed his hand and dragged him towards the canvas. I was busy with this piece. On the canvas was built houses and rooftops. As far as I could see, colors she used did not match the real image, because she only used blue, red and black. What do you think, Lord Naruto? He gave her a thumbs up, and she puffed her chest out. This is Shimura Kuma, said Naruto. Suki looked towards the girl. Sup? Nice to meet you, said Shimura. That's a real nice painting, Suki. I know. Lord Naruto already said that it was amazing, said Suki. You didn't hear him. Sorry, kid, said Naruto as he turned towards Shimura. She's like this with everyone. I want her to have more friends, you see. Suki was affronted by this as she was holding up Naruto's hand, as she placed her chest in mock hurt. I have lots of friends. Name one, said Naruto. Except me and your mom. She deflated, not fear, as Naruto smiled brightly and patted her hand. The first step to making friends is to admit that you're a loser. Shimura covered her mouth as she chuckled a bit. There are millions of people in this country, Suki. I know that you're out of Konoha. You can go many places and make a lot of friends. The Krama curse couldn't be blamed anymore, as the Uzumaki Fuinjutsu Reserve faction had worked with the Ink Clan. 3 months of studying, and the Uzumakis and the Ink Clan came up with a huge loophole. How to keep Mania from breaking out of Suki and any other future holder. The previous thought was they had to keep someone always around her. But what they need was a chakra source that could simulate a real person. The seal looked simple, but it was actually 10,000 seals stacked over each other. The seal was filled with chakra, would be replenished every 1 month, just to be safe. Unfortunately, Krama people still could not touch her. But that didn't mean that she had to have them around her all the times. Right now, she was hundreds of miles away from the nearest Krama. Suki puffed out her cheeks as she played with Naruto out her hand. You're being mean, Lord Naruto. Then her attention went back to his hand as she licked his finger before mumble. You ate dango recently, didn't you? Shimura blinked. What the hell? Now, Suki, said Naruto. What did I tell you about licking other people's hands? It's rude, she said. But I only lick your hand, so it's fine. Can make people misunderstanding. But your hand is sweet and soft, she said. You're making Shimura very uncomfortable, said Naruto. She's not complaining. Besides, I'm not hurting anyone, am I, Lord Naruto? As Naruto did not know what to say to get out of the situation. He was not a religious man, but at this moment he prayed for anything to happen. A DC officer rushed up the hill and fell on his knees in front of him. My lord. What is it? Said Naruto, happy for the distraction as he turned. There are 2 people at the Western Gate that want to see you. So he grabbed his fingers as she started to lick his hand again. Slow and on purpose this time. Who are they? Said Naruto. They say that their names are Konan and Tatsumi Inuzaka. As Naruto stood there, the man looked up, not hearing anything. My lord? Tell them I'll be there in a minute, he said, as Naruto disappeared in a burst of smoke and reappeared in front of his house. Moments later, at the Dark Country refugee camp, as Naruto stepped inside, the soldiers came up and parted away. There were a lot of refugees in there, from as far as Snow Country to Hidden Mountain. These refugees were not allowed to enter Dark Country, as Naruto had found goodness in his heart to allow them to stay in here, but they were not allowed to enter his country. As long as they followed that rule and lived their life, everything would be fine. Naruto was in a dark, short-sleeved shirt and black pants that stopped right at his ankle, with white sneakers. The short sleeve show off all of the lines that were on his body when he had first activated his smoke release. The storage seal in the back of his hand and the ink marking that was on his left forearm. He was wearing his glasses and his dark half mask. At the end of the path, Makoto Gato, the leader of the Defense Corps, took a step out of the ranks as he took one salute towards his lord. As Naruto smiled as the man bowed deeply. Lord Naruto, sir, he said, as the others bowed. Welcome to the Refugee Protection Unit. I am honored to be the one to welcome you. No need to be so formal, Makoto. I heard I have visitors. My apologies, my lord. I could not bring them into the country. No apologies needed, old friend, said Naruto. They're neither citizens or allies. They have no right to enter darkness. You have performed excellently. Makoto bowed. I am grateful, my lord, he said, as he moved his hand towards the entrance. As Naruto followed, as the man followed behind, Makoto reported as they walked, as he went up the stairs. Their names are Konan and Inuzaka Tatsumi. My female officers have searched them and stripped them of their weapons and belongings. The one called Konan said that she had come in a rush, so unable to pack more than the bare essentials, spare clothing, ration bars, water, and bandages. Tatsumi informed us that Minato and Namikaze help seal all their things away in a large size scroll. We are currently searching for traps. All the money they have on them is 60,550 snow ryu. Okay, said Naruto as he opened the door. That said 7, as the room was a bedroom, like a guest bedroom size. Nothing too big, nothing too small. It had a table in the center with 3 chairs, cameras on the wall, and a one-way glass. This was the room that they interrogate refugees to make sure that they weren't spies. They are currently in separate holding cells. Naruto turned his head to the man, as he felt like he needed to drop on his knee. You are aware that Tatsumi Inuzaka is expecting, right? She's with child. Yes, sir. We move her towards a holding cell for expecting mothers. It was much more common than one wants to admit. Almost half of the refugees that came were young mothers or expecting mothers. Bring them in, said Naruto. As you wish, sir. Moments later, the first person to be laid in was Konan. She had come in without any shackles, chains, handcuffs, or anything. But her steps were slow and tired. She was in a sleeveless purple dress that reached her knees, tight black pants underneath, and a pair of blue shinobi heels and a white origami rose on top of her head. The sides of her heels had stray blades of grass on them. One of the DC officers pulled out her chair as she sat down, as she looked down toward the table, avoiding eye contact with the blonde. As Naruto placed his hand on the table and leaned forward, 2 officers left the room after. As Naruto looked at the woman, she didn't say anything and she did not speak either. 2 minutes of this silence, and the door buzzed open again as Tatsumi was led inside. As Naruto did not take his eyes off Konan as the Inuzaka was led into her seat. As Naruto waved his hand, the 2 officers saluted and left the room. The ones behind the one-way glass also left as well, and the camera stopped blinking as it shut off. Tatsumi felt panic rise up in her stomach as they were left alone with the most feared man on the planet. Her nose told her that the nearest person to them was on the 6th floor. As Naruto placed his hand on the table, showing no threat, as he looked towards Tatsumi, I have to apologize for the harsh treatment. You can't be too careful these days, he said, you know. Tatsumi blinked as she looked towards him, unsure how to respond. Konan was the one that spoke. I understand you don't trust us. Me. As Naruto looked towards her, no, Konan, I don't trust you, he said. Shoulders sag a bit. Your honesty is as refreshing as ever, Naruto, she said. I take it that you don't trust me either, said Tatsumi. As Naruto turned towards her, frankly, I don't trust anyone that crawled out of Konoha. You should have been killed the moment you crossed foot on my lands. But, as he leaned back in his chair, the reason neither of you are dead is because of Minato. Tatsumi cleared her throat. You're afraid of Minato, she said. As Naruto chuckled, he chuckled. Oh no. He has already seen his own fair share of suffering. You, Tatsumi Nizaka, are Minato's weakness. And I don't see the use of killing his weakness. So you do have a conscience, she said, with a sharp smirk. Don't misunderstand me, Tatsumi Nizaka. Make any sudden movements, and I will kill you, he said, as his eyes crinkled up into a smile. Cool? Tatsumi gritted her teeth as she hated how much she was afraid at that moment. I understand, she said. Let me see your hands, Konan, he said. Her hands closed in a tight fist on the table. Oh, why? You being here and not being with Nagato can only mean one thing. I just want to confirm it. So let me see your hands. Fine. As she placed her hand on the table, as Naruto scoffed when he saw what he thought he would see. Konan right. Middle finger was missing, cut to a stump. She also did not have on any of her piercings. Defected from the akatsuki. Nagato is not going to be happy. He isn't. She looked towards his own right hand, as his finger was well intact. What did you do to get your ring off? It's quite simple really. My chakra burned it off. Her eyebrow lowered. Of course, she said. Another guess is that the Akatsukis are after you. And the river, Circus Master delivered the message that Fukaku is heading his way towards Clover Mountain. He chuckled again, amused. What a mess, huh? We need your help, Naruto. Oh, and what do you need my help for, Konan? Are you not the Angel of Hidden Rain? I'm sure you can take on the Akatsuki by yourself. 1 or 2 S rank I can handle. But there are 5 people plus Nagato with his packs. There are 11 people tracking us down. Nagato will probably think that you know too much, said Naruto. If you're looking for protection here, I would be willing to accept, as long as neither of you dream of entering the country. My border seals are capable enough of handling those upstart S ranks. However many they be, I'm confident that my shinobis can keep you too safe. Thank you, Naruto. I'm happy you're willing to protect us after all these years. She looked up, her eyes filled with tears. But she looked back down when she did not see the kindness in Naruto's eyes, the one that she was used to see. But I promised Minato I would get Tatsumi to the Fire Lady. They have a long-standing relationship. And where's Minato now, Naruto asked. He stayed back. The idiot wanted to take them all by himself. Why didn't he just flash you to Wakano, said Naruto. He said that teleportation isn't good for me in my state. Inconvenient, but he's the expert. You want me to help you escort Tatsumi to the fire capital? Konan looked at him. No, you don't have to go yourself. Just a few of your ninjas will be enough. I never said I'll go with you, said Naruto. As Lumen deflated at that. I'm bored though. I'll use the chance to stretch my legs. Might even see how I will fare against the S ranks of these days. Konan bowed her head deeply. So much so her forehead touched the table. I can't thank you enough, Naruto, she said. As Naruto's reply was only a small nod. As Konan sat up, she looked towards the leader. Where's Sawaki? She's on her way. Unlike Naruto, who Nagato and Konan knew who were leaving, Sawaki did not inform them that she was leaving. Well, they should have guessed that she would follow her idol. But Sawaki simply left, no goodbye. Is she, well, she's okay, said Naruto. I mean, are you two, we're together, if that's what you're asking, said Naruto. Tatsumi looked between them as she kept out of conversation. I'm with Kushina too, just so you know. Oh, a sad smile came on Konan's face. I see you finally got that harem you were always dreaming of. Naruto smirked a little. I don't think 2 women can make a harem, Konan. Naruto, as she opened her mouth but she closed it back. As her emotions wanted to spew out, she wanted to hug him. Apologize for everything that she did all those years ago. Apologize for everything. Naruto, I'm sorry for everything I done, she said. As Naruto raised her eyebrow and looked at her. I led you on. I took advantage of your kindness. And I took you for granted. You had my back, you had all of our backs, and I was a bad friend. I'm so sorry, she said. A memory surfaced in both of their minds. A 9-year-old Konan walked around the corner of a lone wall as she saw the boy she was looking for as he took off his shirt and allowed the rain to wash off the grime and dirt on his body. She made to apologize, but her eyes saw all the violent blue and purple red markings and slashes across Naruto's back. Those were new. They looked like they had been dealt 30 minutes ago. As he looked over his shoulder, his face reddened with morbid embarrassment. What the hell, Konan? I'm sorry, she said, as he quickly put his shirt back on and faced forward. As he spoke without looking back, I gave Sue something to do. Can you help me watch her? I'll be done in a minute, said Naruto. A bomb went off close by, but not close enough to take them off their feet or to make Naruto worry. Konan, mouth flat but no words came out. Some minutes ago, Naruto came back with a whole goat leg, and he was making preparations so they could smoke it and that they could eat food for the next days or so. Konan nodded her head as she ran away. A blush on her face. Image of what she saw on his back was replaced by almost seeing him naked, and it made her quite embarrassed as her face was blushing. In the flashback, as Naruto still didn't speak, I know things will never go back to the way they used to be between us, but can you ever forgive me, Naruto, she asks. As a single tear dropped on the table, as Naruto was her emotional buffer, and his departure from the Hidden Rain depart her emotions as well. But now that she was seeing him again, she was even crying as she waited. When do you two plan on leaving for the Fire Capital? Her heart shattered as he completely ignored her question. Tasumi, noticing that Konan was in the right state of mind to answer, spoke. No, if you can. Me and Tsuaki would go. As Tasumi brightened up at that, a legendary class ninja, Naruto, and Tsuaki, and Konan, that will be more than enough firepower. Who knows, maybe Minato would get impatient, meet Fukaku, take him out, and meet them at the capital. The bearded Namikaze had gave her the writing blade to work with, but she wasn't worried about Minato taking on that group. This is more than I can ask for. Thank you so much. It's nothing, don't worry about it. You both must be hungry, right? I'll send for food, eat and rest up. We'll move out in 30 minutes. As Naruto noticed something. Where's Kuromaru, your Ninken? He's in Konoha, showing the new clan head the ropes. I told him to stay. Flashback, 30 minutes ago. Konan has betrayed us, said Pain darkly. As he was sitting on his throne at the head of the meeting room, his Rinnegan eye glowed ominously as he had an object in his hand. She bypassed the blood contract and cut off her finger. Our plans are now at risk, had fallen apart, as the gathered members looked at each other. And one of them rose his hand as he spoke. What do you propose we do, Lord Pain? The man was silent for a moment, reflecting on how he indirectly caused his last childhood friend to leave his side. If he had not crossed the line and painted a target on Minato, Tasumi, and their unborn child, she would have still been obedient, as Pain frowned. We move on to plan B, he said, as he moved his head towards Toby, who spoke up. We at first wanted to gather the beasts one at a time, starting next month. But now people are aware of the akatsuki if Minato, Tasumi, and Konan escape. We will have to take out prominent shinobi on the continent, so there is no possible threat, and hidden village that has tail beasts would be weaker. Then, we gather the tail beasts. What do we do about Konan, Sasori asks. She dies. Minato will no doubt be with her. He will be too preoccupied with Fukaku, Orochimaru said, with a sinister smirk. While he was in sand, I had Kabuto slip something into his drink. Deidara raised an eyebrow. What the hell does that mean? Means that Minato will have a harder time against his old friend. Kisame smirked as he looked towards the orange mass of Toby, possibly even kill him for us. That sucks, Hidan said. That stupid ass, blonde fag, get on my nerves. Thinking that he gets to come and go as he goddamn please, while we have to stay and keep this hellhole running. Mind your mouth, priest, said Toby. This is not the time. She will run to Naruto for help, Pain said. As he spoke once again, all eyes turned towards him. Konan, he knew, the Konan that he grew up with, always first ran towards Naruto for help. He envied Naruto and how much Konan depended on him. He envied him. He envied how reliable Naruto was. How much he envied Naruto. And wherever Naruto is, Tsuaki is not far behind, he said. Sasori spoke up. That is gonna be a problem. No, leave Naruto to me, said Pain. What about the vampire, Orochimaru asked. You need your heart to inquire immortality, correct? Orochimaru implied Kakazu Jienko into his body, amplifying the black threads with his sage chakra and its snake summoning. He also harvested roughly 50 hearts of people outside the Hidden Rain and engineered it into a small ball. Jienko took those 50 hearts and arranged them in Orochimaru's stomach. He might as well be immortal when Naruto's violent, corrosive darkness was still in him. Those 50 hearts only elongate his time on the earth. Acquiring Tsuaki's heart would purge that poison from his body. I work alone, Orochimaru said. Allow me to get it myself. Do so, said Pain. Sasori, Deidara, you two take care of Konan. Alright, Lord Pain, said Sasori. As Deidara nodded, I will take the fight to Fire Country, seeing that the fortress, which is darkness, could not be infiltrated to be used as a battleground, while you three, Hidan, Toby, Kisame, draw the dark forces away from us into the sand. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. Hidan only giggled evilly. Kisame did not reply to the order, but Toby nodded slightly. At the present time, 30 miles away from Dark Country, at the border of Fire Country, stood 6 people standing in the grass. The 6 paths of pain. Their emotionless gaze looked towards the other people ahead of them. Tasumi was behind Naruto, as he told her to move behind after the 6 paths had arrived. As Tsuaki and Konan was at Naruto's side, Konan and Tasumi had only bathed and freshened up. Their clothes, still a bit rumpled, but presentable. while Sawaki was in a dark red long sleeve shirt, black combat pants, and red shinobi sandals. She had her forehead protector glistening on her forehead, and she had on red gloves, as her hair was tied up into a ponytail behind her. Unlike her teacher, she had the kunai and shuriken holster on her thigh and her hip, and she had a black bandana around her neck. Take Tasumi and fly to far country. Sawaki will protect you too. He looked towards Sawaki. Don't argue. She gritted her teeth as she was about to snap back. She was going to leave his side. But he simply smiled at her. Don't worry about me, he said, as he placed a hand on her shoulder. I can handle myself. Her will to defy him broke into nothing as she sighed. I'll drop them off and come right back, okay? Sure, said Naruto, as she stood up on her toes and kissed him right on the mask. Konan turned away, hiding her jealousy, as she summoned a sheet of paper that formed a platform that levitated off the ground, as she helped Tasumi up. As she took a route that went around the paths, as Sawaki went around as well, after giving Naruto one last look, as Naruto watched them leave. As Deva Path spoke, Sawaki won't live long enough to make it to the capital. You don't give her enough credit, said Naruto. Perhaps not. You understand what is about to happen right now, Naruto, said Nagato. Trust me, Nagato, said Naruto. You don't want to do this, not with me. You talk too much, Naruto, said Nagato, as Naruto's face darkened, as you could see his blue eyes on full display because everything underneath that was just darkness. His right arm snapped to his side as his blade appeared. Black smoke seeping off it. 6 long smoky tentacles appeared out of his back, not tearing his vest or shirt as they waved behind him like they had a mind of their own. The tentacles crackled with lightning and glow with white electricity as his eyes became white, as his senses expanded. The 6 paths of pain stood there and they watched as Naruto became the ghost. Nagato, when they were younger, had sparred with Naruto while he was in his form. White eyes. The electric forms of tentacles behind him. Nagato was smart enough not to compare any spar that they had in their youth until now. This fight was gonna dwarf any fight that they had when they were kids. This was different, completely so. The sky became darker as a dark sheet of red could be seen. As the wind started to pick up around them, the 2 men released chakra from their bodies as rain started to pour down on them, as lightning crackled in the heavens. As Naruto narrowed his eyes, after this, I'm coming for you, Naka, he said. The crippled Kage, all the way back in the rain, coolly watched as the rain fall on the window. Ghost of a smile slid up his face as he bowed his head. You can try, Naru. The other paths went around as they went into their formation, as the Deva path lowered himself into his center of gravity, as there would be no holding back. This was a fight to the death, it seems, as their chakra changed the environment and they haven't even started fighting yet. The black smoke seeping out of Naruto's blade intensified as it started to create a small shroud around him as he stood there, his body oozing with unbridled chakra. As it began, chakra changed off the demonic statue. Naruto raised the eyebrow. That's a new one. As he dashed forward as chains exploded out of the ground, lashing out at him. He had his head lowered and his arms were behind him as he was moving, dashing, quickly outpacing the chains. He was running fast enough to leave illusions in his path. Missiles, 3 of them, flew towards him from the robot path. The powerful chakra chains came at Naruto from behind as they were trying to hold him down. As the world seemed to slow as the missile, one of them quickly hit his Jonin vest and then passed right through him, his intangibility. Boom! They hit the ground and went off, blowing the chains to pieces behind him. As a few of them got blown apart, a few of them still waved lazily in the air though. As Naruto was gone, the Azure Path turned and fired off another missile as Naruto ducked, as the thing exploded and lifted up a large chunk of the earth that came towards Naruto as he ducked right under it. A massive turtle came down on him. 2 of the tentacles stabbed right through it as it poofed away. The Azure Path shot forward to engage Naruto with hand-to-hand combat, as the Predator Path and Human Path and Animal Path came in as backup, as Naruto spun and deflected a beam right from the Azure Path finger, blocked it with his ninjato. As he turned, he swiftly dodged out of the way of 2 arms trying to grip him inside, as he flipped over the Azure Path head that lashed out with a brutal punch. As Naruto flipped, he was fast. He landed right in the Path's hand before flipping backwards. He's gotten better at this, and Naruto as he ducked, as the Azure Path feet broke the ground, as his senses told him out the 3 paths coming his way. As Naruto twisted and sliced off one of the arms on the robot path. As he jumped back, his tentacle back was turned towards the Deva Path, who raised his hand Almighty push! As Naruto was thrown right into the grinning embrace of the robot path, who wrapped his arms around Naruto tightly and opened his chest once again. As Naruto flicked his wrist as he sealed away his blade. Hidden art, smoke release, acidic. Smoke scream, said Naruto. Poof. His body burst into thick black smoke as the Azure Path released the laser beam out of his chest. As Naruto reappeared behind it, the Azure Path then dropped to its knees. As its entire body was burned, the robe of the Akatsuki was nothing, as the thing was turned to dust after Naruto simply passed through it with his technique. 3 paths advancing to him spread out, as the animal path flipped through hand signs. As Naruto opened his arms, "You think I'm some sort of kid," he said. "You think you can use that crap tactic again?" As he smashed the remaining pieces of the robot path. As Nagato had used that move on Naruto when they were kids. That is why Naruto created the acidic smokescream jutsu. The soul-sucking path and the chakra draining path leaped down towards Ghost, knowing better than to touch the breather path, or let the human path touch you and suck out your soul. Naruto fired bolts of lightning towards the ground, as he tear a huge chunk of it away. As he kept on firing white shots of lightning all over the place. The wet, cold water on the ground wittered, as fire erupted from his shot. He focused most of the fire on the breather path, then the human path, as the fire on the chakra sealing path was hotter and larger, and the fire was made up of less than 30% of chakra. Therefore, it couldn't be just put out if he tried to drain it of his chakra. As the thing covered its face before leaping out of the hot, intense flames, as it ducked under a fist from Naruto. As Naruto went through hand sign, as the thing came back around him. Water release, said Naruto. Swamp army graveyard. As Naruto was gone, the ground under the human path started to get swampy as he tried to move, but muddy arms grabbed him and pulled him down. The next moment, Naruto was in front of him. As Naruto's knee burst his head right open. As Naruto flashed to another hand sign, Tendo raised his hand, but Naruto already finished. Fire release, fireball jutsu. Almighty push, Tendo said, as he tried to blow away the fireball, but it was too late. As the fire incinerated the trap path, as it clashed with the almighty push afterwards. As Naruto intensed the flame as a gravitational push and the fireball clashed together. As the white heat was getting more intense, as Naruto brought his hand up into a full ram seal, Tendo grit his teeth under the strain as he raised his other hand to support himself. As Naruto leaped away, as the explosion tore the entire ground apart, the other paths quickly moved out of the explosion as well, as they came after him. As the priest bat launched himself towards Naruto with duck, as a massive gorilla slammed a hard punch in Naruto's back, as summoning from the animal path. As he twists and slammed his foot on the Prida Path's shoulder, who used an opportunity to suck some of his chakra as Naruto pushed off it and went through hand sign. Water release, crystallize, water, needle hell. The rain around Naruto started to harden into Senbon as they stabbed through the gorilla. Hidden art, lightning release, blink. 1-2 steps, said Naruto. As he ran towards the Prida Path, the next step he took, he burst into lightning, shooting towards the Prida Path at a speed that normal humans could not comprehend. Prida Path opened his armor to suck the jutsu, but Naruto reformed right in front of him with his ninjato in a reverse grip. Smoky blade sliced right through the path's side, severing his body into half. Naruto raised his hands to the heaven and pointed down towards the Prida Path. A lightning bolt came down and ripped the severed half of the Prida Path to pieces. Naruto flashed to another set of hand signs. Earth release, earth spike. As it was too busy with the lightning from above, the earth spike shattered right to the back of its head, piercing through all the metal receivers. As its arms went limp, the lightning hit it and obliterated it to nothingness. As Naruto turned as a cheetah summoning bite right into Night Terror, trying to get past the blade or even broke it, but it was electrocuted into nothingness as it was gone in a rush. 3 more cheetah jumped towards him as he ducked. One of them ripped right into his Jonin vest as the massive rhino charged towards Naruto at incredible speed. As Naruto stepped aside, the rhino impaled the cheetah as it was not stopping, crushing the other one. The rhino turned as it came to trample Naruto, as the tentacles on his back stabbed right through it, piercing hard through the rhino, slowing it down, ripping right through the eye sockets of the thing as it dispelled. The animal path simply summoned more and more and more and more, bombarding Naruto with the summons. Tentacles started to fire off bolt of lightning, dispelling as many as possible. Naruto had been gathering volatile chakra in his lungs the entire time. As he raised his hand, release. As the chakra was released out of his throat, it was catastrophical. The ground exploded upwards. The animals were thrown by the exploding shockwave. Even the animal path was tossed off his feet, no matter how much chakra he used to fasten himself down to the ground, as Naruto lowered his body into a crouch. As he stood there, the back of his Jonin vest was torn because of a cheetah, as he looked up towards Tendo and the revival path, as he spoke in a whisper, but the Deva path knew what was coming. White noise. The atmospheric chakra struck down from the heavens and hit Naruto as veins appeared from his neck, going straight up to his eyes. The physical body shot up and the ghost's soul form shot out of it and dashed towards Nagato at the speed of sound. Back in the hidden ring, Nagato quickly made a move as he disconnected all the chakra from the other path and focused it all into the Deva path. His ring eyes could see Naruto's soul form, but that didn't mean that he could completely keep up with it. Nagato needed to focus. Metal arm erupted from his right side and blocked a ninjato strike. Strikes and the blows came faster and faster, swifter and swifter, harder and harder. Could barely even see the vengeful spirit spinning and attacking him. He sacrificed an arm as he sucked some chakra out of the ghostly form as a knee slammed into his gut, one that rearranged a couple of Deva path organs. If this was a normal human, he would have been long dead. As Naruto flipped and planted his feet right into Deva path chest, as he flipped off, pushing it with a bolt of lightning. Path sucked most of the chakra from the lightning attack as it staggered back though. The battle was too bright to look at as everything was being ripped and torn apart around. Naruto's soul form started to get faster, moving past the speed of sound and dipping into the speed of light. As the vengeful demonic form roared, the air shattered like glass, tearing apart the fabric of space and time. 6 tentacles on the soul form back, morphing the hands, and those hands clasped into fists. He broke right into the Deva path. It did not stop as Deva path was obliterated. It was assaulted as a fist smashed into its chin after a series of attacks. A fist that was so powerful Nagato felt it. The sky parted as the fist force traveled up into the heavens. Naruto grabbed the foot of Deva path before it could fly away as he smashed him in the ground as a tail came out. As a soul form twisted his body as Nagato quickly brought up the Tendo pain as they clashed. The chakra that Nagato was using to keep up with Naruto's soul form was immense. It was more than enough chakra to create our own planet. Not even a moon, a planet for himself, as blood was leaking from Nagato's nose and his mouth as he was struggling, forcing out his chakra. As Naruto was used this large amount of chakra flowing through him at once, Nagato was also used to it, but not at this level, as he was struggling to keep up. As Naruto raised a sword to the heavens and called down 6 bolts of lightning. Not this time, said Nagato, as that was the same way Naruto took out his absorption path. As he absorbed the chakra, he quickly brought out his other hand. Universal pull as he pulled Naruto towards him. The fingers of Yaiko corpse touched Naruto's temple as he came towards him. As Yaiko muttered one single word, "Soul Eater," he said, ready to absorb the soul of Naruto. But guys, the end subs right here. If you want to see next part something new, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember to share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto had the ultimate nature bloodline over on Anime King 3, and enjoy that guys. And I also post a brand new episode of What If Naruto was personally trained by Kurama, so go ahead and enjoy that as well. And remember, if you're new, to go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be planning talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we get the hell out of here? See you guys soon. Peace.